Hello and welcome. It is the final day of July, the 31st day, year 2019. My name is Derek and this is the Money Charts channel. All bets, trades of the like within each his own risk and their own reward. And what we're looking at here is GXS. Not for much of a reason, just because it's the best gainer on that of Binance. Only 11%, not much. This high was 4,073. It got down to as low as 1,300 and change. And another attempt, like it was on July the 25th. 7.85% up day here. Right now it's up 11%, as we can see amongst this coin. When did it start going? It got going at about 2 o'clock in the morning, and well, we'll see what happens. Nothing much more to show here. The Bittrex top gainer. And that of SLS or Salus or Salah, I don't know how to pronounce it correctly if I didn't. Well, we got up to 28 handle. We left the 13 handle. Now it's at the 19 handle. That's like a 40% move. It really makes it interesting when we look. I don't know what to say about these movements. And I mean, I know how to define where the open and close is, but I mean, it almost seems like it's some sort of bug flaw because you're just not going to have every period where somebody would open it up by buying up here, then selling down there, opening with a buy up there, and that just doesn't make sense. The volatility, the volume is just extremely low in here. But what it means is if you're playing the buy low, sell high, especially on sell spots, when the volume is bigger, it makes it easier if you're a bigger fish in a small pond, which, quite frankly, when you're talking about some of these lower volume coins, it's pretty easy to be a shark and really a tank, like a goldfish tank. So you're really not a shark, you're just a goldfish. The weekly chart for Salus, it's hanging in there, but very volatile. Let's take a look at this crossed against the DGB, where extreme volatility is the story. And we can look at this 100 number up here, 800, back down near 100, up to like well over almost 3,000, comes back down to a little on over 1,000, and at times under 1,000. Having this failed breakout to 4,000 and a huge failed breakdown in the hundreds even. You can just see this monstrous volatility, and even just with where we are standing today, let's move this to a 3 day term. You have an 1200 down to like 420 up to like 1290. It's just big volatility. In the session today, up 44.66%. And this candle isn't anything like, oh, this doesn't look like a typical extreme move would be because we see this down day at like 27. This up day, down 36, and it's 3 days collectively, but still, 42, 43% up. It's just monstrous volatility. I'm going to get to Bitcoin in a second, but before doing that, or after this segment on Qtum and the wallet. But we'll get to, after that, of course, I'll get to Bitcoin because it's a big topic, as is Litecoin and a bunch of other coins as well. But amongst this is showing a little bit of a breakout pattern on the daily. At least it started doing so here. Enough for it's time for me to make a ratio trade. And I have absolutely no QTIM on my Binance exchange, and I had to send some. And on my Atomic wallet, it says I got zero of them. None. Now, when I logged on, every one of my other coins would instantly come up with the dollar values and Bitcoin values and the amounts shown. And QTIM, it would take a good couple minutes or so, and then it would load up, and it would show how many I have on the main page. It would show it. And then when I try to send it, of course, it's not going to send. So what am I going to do about this? Well, after I'm done this video, I'm going to make my trade because I've already sent the coins allocated. But like I said, delay to show the balance will not send the coins. So on that Atomic wallet, you can go to get your private keys for every coin. So I got my private keys for QTIM, and then I put them in the proper secure place. Then I go and I do this in a private window, qtimwallet.org, which you can see the security features on it, where it was secured from, and enough where I would trust it. Restore from WIF, paste your private key in, and it was there, and I sent the funds allocated. But a few days ago, I withdrew coins from that of Binance and never updated. I'm like, okay, wait a second. I have less than what my spreadsheet says I have. And then, of course, when I went to my wallet, okay, yep, it's right. It's microscopic decimals off, which is normal with transaction fees. So okay, that's fine. And so I can obviously just keep on using it that way, always having a secure place for your private keys. One way is on a secure USB wallet. When I say secure, that means you're secure for like you'd secure gold and silver, like no one's gonna like use because it's got a private key on it. So you want to secure it like gold and silver in a safe, good spot. And a hiding spot no one would figure out, good spot as well. Anyway, that's what I think. Anyway, 314 is the price for Qtum, and I mean, not too much going on, but I mean, breaking out of this if it's ever going to, we got resistance at 379, and longer term time frame. This was a big drop from this 3,800 high. And getting above 500, maybe we can come in and test this resistance at 1500. We'll see, but obviously when markets have big moves, and I've said this before, when they're ready to go, they're going to go. And I just haven't said that as much lately because they haven't been ready, at least not yet. We'll see if they remain to be so moving forward. Let's move on to Bitcoin. Priced very close to 10,000, 9,875 on the weekly term. After this great April rally, we've had our first correctionary move. This is period number 3 within it, and it is literally completely within the band. When we take a look at where the 18 average of highs comes in, it's at 10,242. But this week isn't that volatile at all, especially now that we're like Wednesday. On the 3-day chart, it's hanging in there like a thread on the 18. The 18 average of highs is in at 11,200, which is a move up to this previous into this congestion area. And when we look at this on the daily chart, we can see that we came down and it really it kind of established a level of resistance, but it really made a statement because what we did is we came down from this high, supported, resisted in here, broke it, and made a new low. We made the new low pretty much on this period here. And then we rallied up top, broke the level of support, and we made another low. But this time, after it rallied, it hasn't been back down to 9,090, albeit it was close on this day. So instead of all these rallies, which sold off pretty much within minutes or hours, this one took a few days to get up to this high into the 18 and to back to this area where it came from. But it was leaving the 18, that was a bearish signal. Spending 3 days in here, and then, okay, this is a telltale sign of a bearishness that is it's probably going to break this level of support, at least test it, and that's what it got was a pierce above at least. But why are we? I mean, this is supposed to start going down. Not too bullish, but it's starting to become a little bullish. Still got to get above the 18 average of highs. 18 average of highs on this one comes in at 10,158. So we can see it needs to have a nice clear break well north of 10,000. As we look at this on some shorter terms, even further, 8-hour term, just barely having a breakout, a statement above it. We'll see how it goes. The last time it got above it in here, not for long. Last time it had some sort of noticeable one was in here, resisted at 11,060, and of course, it didn't have a big sell-off. Failed breakout. Again, it just pierced above with this low in here, this low at this point. And that was a flash move too, if I remember correctly. On the 3-hour, we can see things are on the shorter term starting to roll over, and we had this level of resistance established in here yesterday around lunchtime. When I say lunchtime, that's U.S. New York time. And now we're breaking it out. We spent the last couple periods congesting at that area. Now noticeable breakout, single hour term. No, just consistently going higher, showing a lot of strength amongst the 18 average of highs from 9 p.m. last night up until 8 o'clock because it's leaving the 18 highs. And that's, of course, a bullish statement. We've had this decent sized down move, which took one period to do, a fraction of an hour. And it's taken a lot of them to get a percentage of it back, roughly about 2/3. On the 15, pretty much the same sort of deal. Let's transition on to Litecoin, first against Bitcoin, then against the dollar. And what happened here? Well, before this event happened, it looked like this. So it was definitely choppy, volatile on this 15-minute time frame. But then, as 7 o'clock moves on, even a little past it, oh, nice little moves. And that's where we stand right now. So two periods to go from the 955 handle up to the 982, we'll call it. Retracing back down in a congestion area range between, well, let's take a look at this on the 4. Major support established at the 9694 handle. Resistance established at 975, and it's right now within this moment trying to get above it. If it's able to get above it, that gives you a lot of bullish optimism for at least a test of this high, but probably even a leg higher. And it could easily stall, and if that's the case, we've already established a level of support at 969. Any higher low on any retracement, and right now the 18 lows is always a good indication if that's going to be the case, but it looks to me as if this might be ready for a decent push higher. This is just a 1 minute, but you're getting a good idea. There's this level of resistance. We can see it was twice hit. We hit it here at 8:32, and then again at about 9 o'clock in the morning it hit it. But since this low, nice little continuous bullish action. And just like I stated before, it was just one period with Bitcoin where it took a lot of hours to get back. This is a little over half a dozen to bring the decline, and now we're probably moving into our third dozen since this low, maybe close to two. So as it comes down to it here on the daily term, a lot of this just hanging in there within the 18, but mostly with the 18 average of highs. In fact, it hasn't even touched the 18 average of lows. It was close on July the 22nd. And we can see how the lows have been coming into a rising facet. The highs, well, if we start to break up, that's going to start to rise. And getting it above into the back below the 100-to-1 ratio, or in this case above 0.01, then this thing has the opportunity to really just fly, because that's what it has done so many times before in bullish situations. Now, this one was a decent sized rally from the early parts of December, at least breaking out in here, start of the year. It goes from the 823 handle to the 1823, we'll call it, or a gain of well over a 2x move. Amongst the weekly term time frame, we got a lot of data for this now. It's been above the 18, below, above, below, barely below, and barely above here. So now it's had a good move below. So maybe it's poised for a good move above, and who knows, maybe this move below isn't even done yet. Well, time will only tell. When we look at these 18 averages, the 18 average of highs on here comes in right now at 125, which was a move into this congestion area. But it is the 31st day of July, which means it's the end of the month. And now that we can start to say, yeah, the monthly term in cryptos and actually use it, it's a pretty cool thing, because Litecoin, of course, has been around for a while. But I got to use the Poloniex exchange because of the Binance only being around since basically the end of 2017. But within this, we are down 14% after it was down 15 before. It was down 4 before that, and it was down 5 before that. Man, it's not. It's whenever you see Litecoin having multiple, like if you ever see Litecoin getting 4 weeks down, I mean that's just so like it's not like it does it too much. It did it here. It did it here more than 4. It kind of did it here. It pretty much did it here. Pretty much did it here. So there was a bunch of 5s and 6s, but this rally here and this top was real. This low was not. So you can discount this point in here. But you went from the 54 handle to the 320 handle, and then down to the 31. But look at the size of this move in here. Oh, this month up 106, which was followed by 78. After a pause month down of 4%, it had another up move of 42. And of course, that worked out to where its high was because it had these down months of 17 and 32. This up month, and the volatility was bigger, was 89%. But when you started from this low at 54 and you go to 18, that was like a 3x move. So it was like 200%. And now let's transition this into the dollar. And I put this line in a long time ago. I just figured if I'm going for long term data against the dollar, I'll start long term, and as I go short term, I'll switch the exchange. But looking at the monthly chart here against the dollar, down 21%, but not multiple months down here, just one. There were multiple months up because we were coming up off of a 7% up month against the dollar. Before that, it was 55, 22 before that, 32 before that. It was 45 before that, and it was up 5% before that. The 18 average of lows comes in at $57. And whenever you have a move from point low, which is down in here near 25, to point high, which is near 150, and then where's the high correctionary low? And this to me will fit the bill pretty good. If, of course, that's the case. If price action starts to lift off from here, that's not like it's an uncommon thing. But if it does on a break of this 150 area, I'm looking for a test of previous high at about 303 quarters or 375. Although I do find it interesting that this level of support just happened to match its original highs that it started off with at the beginning of the year 2014. On the weekly chart for this, we'll just hanging in there for the most part after this move higher. And in viewing it against the daily chart and using now Binance for shorter term analysis, this is a very interesting situation because a lot of something is you do something and then you have to ask the question, okay, where did you come from? And this is where it's important for where did you come from. The do something is a move up to the 18 average of high, something it hasn't really tested since it was much higher at 106 and a lot earlier, 11 days ago on July 20. Okay, well that to me when you see that, okay, resistance spot. But when you have a spot of this low, having a couple sideways movements like this coming up, you know what? This you gotta give this the benefit of the doubt that there's something fishy going on. At least, like always, I'm gonna want to see it at least hold a higher low, which to me I can see would come in probably. I'm gonna put a line in here and I'm gonna clarify it more in the shorter term. And I haven't looked at this anything shorter than this recently. So I'm going to put a line here. To me, that tells me where the must hold area is. If it breaks out from here, I can already see that we are in line with this level of resistance from in here. So we're higher low, or excuse me, a lower low from this one. That's bearish and declining 18. That's normal. But we didn't. But we managed to come up to the same spot area. So I want to look at this further when I look at this on the shorter term. And so this little area here is, like I say, where I'd like to see it hold. And within this resistance point in here, at this, nothing too much with this line. However, as far as the 18 is concerned, it's a statement move. For it's a clear, noticeable break above the 18. The first one since this here. That was a failed breakout. Oftentimes from failed moves comes fast moves in the opposite direction, not here. And because of that, again, like I'm stated, where did we come from? Well, we have a situation of this failed break that move here on this period. I'm not going to clarify it with another one, but either way, the bottom line is, well, meaning that this could be someone who just sold quickly and that was it. But if my memory serves me correctly, this was a legit move. And I'm going to find out even further as I go to the shorter term. A lot of this congestion in here. So opportunities, once I've said before, you got to wait for a break either to the up or down side. Like I could have said this July 29th. in the nighttime. And now we had to wait, and now the wait is over because it has managed to get above the 18 highs into this area. We take a look at this on the 3 hour. Again, I want to focus on this period here. Is this a real, like a legitimate, interesting failed breakdown? But regardless, in here, all this resistance test, we have this period here at the 20-hour stamp, close to it on this 11-hour stamp, and again on this the next 11-hour stamp after it. All three hits in this area. Then when we have it come in here, we pause it. This was a telltale sign. Oh, okay. And then after that, you had an additional bullish. This is a good bullish pause again, because we can see in here that it had good bullish momentum higher. It pierced above this high. It had a higher low from this one. So that was like a premium pause one. Oh, the setup looks good, have you? Yeah. And it has a good breakout. This period is up 3% plus on the 3 hour. On the single hour in here, we're still got not much evidence in here, but again, you're seeing how awesome this move is. And let's see if I can get to the bottom of that period. Yeah, this is a legitimate move because what we've seen in here was the price action had a significant move and a significant rally back higher. So an instant failed move. But if there's any fast move from it, we're just having it now, and it was a long wait for it. As we can see in here, this happened in here, and the amount of periods, well, I got a lot. And as we see this now, short term, this thing has got a nice little setup. This is telling me for the day that this is ready to get going. Obvious uptrend in here. Ascending triangle. And it looks like we're ready now to break it. And I mean, by the time this video is uploaded, we could be at 100. And then, of course, you're watching this. How long are we into this video now? We're 22 minutes and 8 seconds. I use Cam Studio for my video recordings, and I pretty much have since the beginning. 12 years ago. It's an old program, but it still does the job for me. Okay. So very, very, very nice setup within it. Let's take a look at Litecoin against a different cross. How about Theta? Now the ratio is 786 as we look at this on the 15. On the daily term, it went pretty much straight down from like 1100. Now a move to the 18 average of highs. To me, hey, you know what? I got my last trade in around 720. So if this thing can get above 800, yeah, I'm going to be buying myself some Theta for that of Litecoin. On the weekly chart for it, nice little failed breakdown move to 295, but nice move in that, okay, you can sell and then you can sell back again. Flip coins back and forth. I showed, of course, at the start of this video, that very interesting one with Solus and DGB. And Qtum, which I talked about at the start, it's been getting its ass kicked from its start against Theta, but a lot of coins have. I did a video recently about everything else versus Theta, and a vast majority of the coins have this kind of look. But when you have these types of moves, okay, you go from 21 to 47, back down to close to 21. We'll count it 23 to 24, 23 to 23 and a half even. And now it's at 25 and change. It could go way back higher, but that's the whole beauty of it is I'm not here to try to predict the next move. But if it does go higher, then I'll sell some Qtum for Theta. And then if not, if it goes lower, that means Theta will be winning and I'll be selling Theta to buy Qtum. Okay, let's move this on next to gross coin against Bitcoin. And I've got it multiplied by 100 million. Simple, and that puts me into the Satoshi number. And that's really for proper logarithmic scale. The fact that I got all these zeros is annoying, but it just means a bunch of space that isn't utilized, that whatever. So on the daily chart, we had this fantastic rally up 30% for the day after showing all, just hanging in there with the 18 highs for a while, which in itself is telling you, okay, this thing, if it gets going, could have a good move. Well, sure enough, it did get going, and sure enough, it did have a good move. But, I mean, just portion of this. It didn't even go to where it came from here. But that doesn't mean it still can't. But this is huge. It's either or situation. Either okay, this is a wild statement that's going to get us doing very well. You hit this high. You now come back to where you come from, which we're doing. Well, if this lifts off from here, well, that's the typical case prototype of break resistance, have your move back, and then leave. But since this move has already happened, if this area here, and it can go down even lower to 28, even into 27 and change 20, and the 18 average of lows is in at 26.71, although it will rise tomorrow if it'll rise tomorrow. So those are areas of key support. But if it doesn't do it, I've talked about this many times before. The attempt is in. If this is a failed move, well, then I'm looking for a fast move in the opposite direction, and a fast move is a leg lower from this level of support. On the just a quick look on the 3 hour term, we can see just that fat one single move to get it up, and now it's just moving lower and such. When we look at this on a longer term time frame, the 3 day chart, there was, and I've talked about all these moves that happened. There was this move, and even this move here. What do we got? This is 53% up. And look at this on the weekly chart. Okay, well, point A low, point B high. Point B high has been tested on many occasions. One, two, you can even somewhat count that, but definitely the four. One, two, three, and four. Support. Originally we had this uptrend line, but that didn't last for long. And levels of support taken out. This one in here, not really finding support there. It didn't come down here. At least not yet. It still might. So for me, I can look at Fibonacci and I see a low of about 1.25, 120. And this resistance is at about 22,900. So I'm looking at 3,000 and 892 as key levels. And that's pretty much where we are now at 3,000. So we're having a Fibonacci test. Decent chance that we could find a bottom from here, and that we at least have a decent sized rally that would, you would think, I guess conservatively, come up to 56, but noticeably above the 18 average of highs. So I'd even have to make a case on a conservative level for around 7,500 for where it would come. But if we don't find support here, if this area fails, I'm going to be looking for the eight where we came from back in 2014, back in 2016. 2014, yeah. Wait a second here. Why does it go from 2014 to? Did this go like off the market and then back on or something? Why do I have such a big gap here? But okay, well at least from this point on here, and I'm using the Fibonacci from the 2017 lows, I think. 118, 111, 120, close enough. And we'll finish this off within theta, which after this high took several days to grind its way, making consistent higher lows and higher highs, but never coming that close, 1334 here, to this high of over 1434. And now a decent sized decline, breaking this whatever trend lines you want to have in here, having a move into the 18 average, the 18 average of lows. It comes in at looks like 1197, and so under 1200 is where the 18 average of lows comes in. When we take a look at this on the shorter term time frame, the 8 hour, obviously after a couple periods hanging in with the lows, breaking down this period. So trying, and then in this case here, this turned bearish because on this stage one, band flatten out, stage two, establish support. So that's doing stage two here. But on this time frame, the band was flat in here, so there's some support established, back to the band, and now the break. So on this time frame, kind of at 1249 or so, 1244, you could deem it, okay, we're bearish. So it's been bearish just within this period. And on the single hour term time frame, we can see it established some support here but never came back. I don't count this as established support because it's not much of a move to this low where this would be. And this one in here, well, this one in here, it established this level of support and it kind of broke it a little while ago. So now we're going to have down moves. But for me, I've been selling theta recently. So if any of my ratios kick in where I'll buy it back, that's exactly what I'm going to do. As I made them reference within the Litecoin and the theta. I want to show you again why I multiply these by 100,000 because, okay, this is what we look like in here. Okay, if I multiply it by it does a little bit of a different look. You can see the scaling of these. You can see more size, more fat, if you will, on the lower end because at this case, it truly has. This looks like a real log chart to me. But within it, the big moves, that's what I'm always looking for. Having spots where just a fast move up, bring it down, and all those types of situations because then the more trades that I can get and the more times I can flip coins back and forth, the better off it's going to be. Thank you for tuning in and have yourself a great day. Bye bye.